What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video review. Today we're going to take a look at the Punisher War Machine. An older figure, but still a pretty good one, and you can order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below. For anyone who doesn't know, I've been eyeing this figure for a long time, but I'm waiting for a right price, and I finally got it. And boy, I can't be any happier. Full disclosure, I'm a huge Punisher fan though, so put that into consideration. So I'm a little biased on this one. Look at that, the Punisher War Machine. So this is from the video game, I think like series, something Armor Wars or something like that, fight series. So this is not movie accurate or anything like that. Much more so, it's just an interpretation. But again, I love anything Punisher. Plus, there's not a whole lot out there in terms of content, and when it comes to 1/6 license. We only got Punisher from the Daredevil and the comic book adaptation from Sideshow, which is years ago. So this is a welcome addition to my Punisher collection, which is 2 as we stand. But it's beautiful. I mean, if you love Iron Man and Punisher, I mean, what more can you ask for, right? So this is some of the accessories here. When you unbox this, you can't help but just unboxing a regular Iron Man figure. In this case, kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is kind of like a modified Mark IV War Machine. So, and then you got the instruction manual here. Some of the things included in the back right here are some effects, which I really do like. Those blasting effects. Some people does not, but I do like them. Display purposes wise, they're beautiful. This is the ammo belt, and you got some batteries and all that stuff, and you got some minigun on his back as well. So everything here. So now let's take a closer look at the accessories. You get the regular hands, the repulsor hands, articulated fingers. You got some open, I guess, missile hand. Like a fisted hands here, but an open missile on his arm. So he simulates that it's like shooting. These are some guns on the back of his forearm underneath. So it looks like it is deployed. And you got 2 sets of guns on his back. This it looks like a minigun kind of thing. Or the other one's the minigun. This just look like a blaster. And it's nicely articulated. It could fold all the way in his back. This is more of like a minigun. It's via ball joint. It's kind of goes in his face, to be quite honest with you. There's some articulation where you insert the ammo belt, so you could position it however you want. And this is the ammo belt, which is, I guess they're using cartridge in his back. It's very flexible. These are on his shoulders, so it looks like when you open it up, it looks like he's about to shoot some mini missiles in there. And the blasting effects that he comes with, be careful, there's some sharp edges in here, and also they're easy to break. So just be mindful of that. Be careful when handling it, and make sure when you insert them, they're fully inserted. This is the head sculpt of Frank Castle. Looks really nice if you ask me, and the collar piece which you insert once you remove the armored head sculpt. Now this is base, nothing too fancy, just the Punisher War Machine armor, but you got the Punisher logo from Future Fight. It is beautiful in my opinion. The armor itself, really nice. It has a lot of battle damage to it. Again, it's the paint application is the one that stands out here. You can see some Punisher logo on his thighs, all the way up to his chest, which is massive here. Beautiful design. I believe I saw some cover on the comic books that he did wear this, not just in the game. So, you know, I know GameStop released a what do you call that, a Hasbro helmet for this as well. I should have picked that up, you know. But I was thinking to myself, it's like, where am I gonna put this? You know, it's a big piece, but nonetheless, it is beautiful. The combination of Iron Man and Punisher just really appeals to me. but I didn't want to buy it for the same price as a regular Iron Man. It is still a regular Iron Man, but it, that's the length I was going to. I mean, I really love this piece, but I knew deep inside of me that I'm gonna get a deal if I wait a little longer, which it paid off. It really did. Look at those look at those armor right there. That is beautiful. Some peeling on the back, really nice. Now those are intentional, by the way, and you get all the movements as well as a regular Iron Man. But overall here, it's again, I believe this is Mark IV War Machine. Correct me if I'm wrong. So on the back right here, this is where you input the guns and you open this up. It's not magnetized though. That's one thing that I have with this figure is that it's still, well, this is a bit older, but how you insert these panels are still like the good old-fashioned way, which is not terrible, but you know, on the back piece right here. So since this is War Machine, he's a bit beefier, you know, than a regular Iron Man. Look at this, it goes up and down, nicely articulated right here. And for the most part, War Machine is always loaded with guns, especially Mark 1. And Mark 4 is loaded, so you get that beefiness as far as the armor is concerned. Going down here in this gunmetal gray, or whatever gray you call it, and on the side, those are highly detailed images of War Machine. The toes are painted silver as well. We go to the head sculpt. I love this head sculpt because it does have the familiar War Machine paint, the skull, and you get the nice red on the eyes. It is beautiful in my opinion. So War Machine's head sculpt is already pretty cool to begin with. You know, those elevated things on his forehead, and then you put in this skull, which makes it looks really intimidating in my opinion. You turn this around, and then you open up the lights. It's pretty easy. You just take out the top head sculpt. Again, this is not magnetized. It's kind of like tab, but it's all right. That is my only complaint, I would say, is the shoulder cannon on his right hand side can't be moved out of the way to fully appreciate this head sculpt. See what I mean? Even if you remove the minigun, you would see a ball joint sticking out there. So it's not really sightly, if I might add. And then the shoulder pieces, you can see there, it opens and closes. You gotta use like your fingernails though to lift up those tabs. It took me a while to do that because I was like looking around. It's like, is mine broken? Because it's so flushed inside that you have to lift them up and, you know, kind of insert it. And there you go. That looks pretty good right there. And now for the regular head sculpt. Now I noticed this head sculpt is a little bit bigger than your typical Hot Toys head sculpt. So if you are planning to use this as a custom, you know, you gotta take that into consideration. But nonetheless, it's the I guess their own rendition of how Frank Castle would look like, and I think it's pretty good. They have no source material, I suppose, but it looks lifelike. I like those veins on the side of his head, and also those marks on his face, the scars. It is beautiful, in my opinion. He got this chiseled jawline, which kind of just represent, and then he has that hair that's kind of sticking out. It's like a separate piece, but I think it's beautiful. I might just do one of those Daft Toys clothing with a Punisher symbol on the front. You could use, I guess, the John Bernthal one, but it needs to be a one piece with the neck, and that Punisher does not. So you gotta be a little bit more creative, I suppose. Get a separate neck, but we can do that. Skin tone's not gonna match, so let's take out some lights here just to give it a dramatic effect. I think it looks good. See those shadows when it bounces the head sculpt itself. Look at that. it removes the eyes. You just light it from the top. That looks phenomenal right there. So, man, I love this figure. I'm telling you right now. Again, I'm biased here, but I love this figure. So articulation wise, you've held an Iron Man figure before. It's pretty much the same. You can move the neck all the way up, so you can give him that flying pose. You can give him all the way down right there as well, but you know, there's some hindrance on the back. The shoulder piece does move, so if you are moving his arms side to side or forward and back, you might want to adjust it because you don't want these pieces rubbing off each other. And then you got the shoulder butterfly joints in there. It has double jointed, but it's so beefy that this bicep section does not move, so you almost doesn't have that articulation all the way there. The waist does move as usual from Iron Man figure. You can pull the legs down. This pieces on his hips does move around, so if you want to extend the leg, having those, you know, heroic ground pound pose, you could do as well, and you can put it right back to avoid, you know, the gaps. This midsection does, you can see it goes inside. There's no button on his back to extend. You just pull it down. You can bend the knee pretty much all the way up there. Toe articulation, you can move the feet as well. You know, there's some side to side movement on the ankles. So he's just beefy on top. He's just top heavy. So be careful when posing them. Speaking of poses, some pose session here. And then we're gonna wrap this thing up. He is so your imagination would run wild with this figure because he's not a part of the MCU per se, so you could use different background or combine him with different elements. The only companion piece that I can think of is perhaps the Venom pool. I think they're in the same breadth of game, so you could, but nonetheless, he does not need any companion piece. He's a standalone piece. It's a Punisher and War Machine at the same time, so he's just cool. This is him kind of like decked out. You can see from the back right there. I didn't include the shoulder piece that he does have, so here he is in kind of like ruins and whatever the case is. I think it looks beautiful in there. This is him all decked out with all the accessories that you can attach him, because once you attach everything in him, this is what I like about a figure, nothing gets left in the box but hands and the extra head sculpt, you know, so you're gonna love it. He's fully loaded really, and those effect pieces, you can say that, hey, I can Photoshop them a lot better. This looks toyish, and in a sense, I would agree with you. You can Photoshop these things, or I could have, until you display them on your shelf. So once you do, I mean, you can't Photoshop them once you're in your detail. So here he is, you know, in the cold winter nights in New York, fighting crime or whatever it is that he's fighting already at this stage when he is Punisher War Machine. I mean, can you imagine like giving him this arsenal? By the way, he does have a light up chest piece, which I didn't even showcase because it doesn't make any sense. You'd only see it when you remove the chest piece, which why would anyone do that? Here he is as Frank Castle with the Punisher Frank Castle from Daredevil. Boy, looks good. By the way, the Punisher, the Daredevil Punisher is the one who inspired me to be a Punisher fan. I wasn't initially, but Bernthal's performance really stood out to me, and ever since then, I've been, you know, in a hunt for anything Punisher just because of how well he performed there. And this is War Machine Mark IV. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not War Machine Mark IV. Put down in the comments where this armor is based off. But I think it looks good right here. You know, right next to an actual War Machine. Makes it a little bit less beefier, this War Machine that I do have. But man, what can I say? This Punisher War Machine armor is phenomenal, in my opinion. Future Fight, I know it doesn't match with pretty much anything that I have outside of Punisher. I do have a lot of Iron Man figures, so But then again, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't really need to match. I got it for the price that I'm comfortable with. So is this something that I would sell down the line? I don't think so. Again, for the price that I got it for, it's really good. Love Punisher, love the look, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You know, my imagination, you know, posting pictures of this guy would run wild. And if it doesn't, you know, like if I display him, he's a shelf presence on his own. With those effects, I mean, look at how awesome this looks. Like, all gray, and you get that different color of red, just to complement that. I think it just looks phenomenal. But is this a must-have to your collection? Let's say you're not a Punisher fan. I don't think so. As good as it looks, there's so many Iron Mans out there that are more meaningful, or might be meaningful to you. Or if you want to create your MCU display, then it just makes sense, right? Like if you want to do that. But it's not taking away the fact that this is a beautiful piece. If you are aficionado for Hot Toys or whatever the case is, you would appreciate this, because it just shows you how good they could be when they want to. And this is a future fight. And you know, you can probably get this on BSTs and all that stuff for cheap nowadays. But hey, if you want to be certain, head over to, you know, local retailer, Big Bad Toy Store, or anything like that. Some of the lights might not work. So, but thank you for watching. Hopefully you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.